Good morning and welcome to you all. I want to say to you this morning, today is really a great day. It is a day that the Lord has made for us in the marine spatial planning process and for all those who occupy our blue economy and our blue space. It is really a special day. And it is an honor for me to welcome you to this national launch of the marine spatial planning process. I get it right, Dr. Brewster. It is really a process for Barbados. And to say to you that this is not only the new deal for Barbadians and for Barbados, but it is the real deal as it relates to Barbados being able to achieve ecological, economic, social, and sustainable development for our maritime space. The government of Barbados and the Nature Conservancy began collaborating on the design for the Depth of Nature Convergence SWAP in 2019. It was intended to create a sustainable source of revenue to fund projects that can address some of the key challenges in developing our blue economy. To this end, TNC agreed to facilitate and fund a sensitization workshop targeting various government agencies, NGOs, and civil society regarding the establishment of a national conservation trust fund in Barbados in anticipation of negotiations for debt for nature swap arrangements. The creative fund is entitled the Barbados Environmental Sustainability Fund and the Endorsement Trust. This approach engendered great interest from the international financial institution, obviously the IDB, and as part of the process, the development of the marine spatial plan started. Within the marine spatial plan process that is being launched today, it is essential that all stakeholders have a collaborative input into how the ocean space of Barbados, which of course is over 400 times that of our land mass, can be effectively managed, developed, and sustainably exploited. There will be a marine spatial plan project unit established whose responsibility will be to ensure the successful implementation of the project. It is therefore essential that as part of this process, there is full participation of all stakeholders in the sharing of information about our marine space, and that they are able to exploit as well as express concerns where it is felt that equitable consideration is not being fairly given to specific sector considerations. However, it must be noted, realized and accepted that as part of this process, the establishment of specialized managed areas and defined conservation are deemed worthy of designation, which will also be part of the output. It is well known that we have acquiesced to the United Nations General Assembly call to have 30% of our biodiversity, that is the combination of land and sea, being augmented and realized by the year 2030. This must not now be a United Nations General Assembly call. This must be a Beijing call. And in order for it to happen, Barbadians must be imbued with a sense of what we are doing and the importance of what we are doing as it relates to the preservation of our biodiversity. Life, as we know it, started with biodiversity. It will die a painful and horrific death without it. A word to the wise. At this time, I must extend heartfelt thanks and congratulations to the Coastal Zone Management Unit on achieving your 40th year. I think we can give them a round of applause. This event is also being used to launch their year of activities, which will be cross-sectoral and publicly interactive. The Coastal Zone Management Unit is well known for its scientific approach to all aspects of its work. Its most recently concluded project, the Coastal Risk Assessment and Management Project, resulted in the production of the Integrated Coastal Zone Management Plan. This document has resulted in the integration of climate change and disaster risk management considerations into the integrated coastal zone management process for Barbados. This document is available, and I encourage you to visit the Coastal Zone Management Unit website, www.coastal.gov.bb, and please review it. Your comments, I suspect, are muchly appreciated. In closing, I just want us to remember that a good, clean, and vibrant ocean can stir the heart, inspire the imagination, and bring everlasting joy to the soul. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful evening. God bless you.
I'm the executive director of the Nature Conservancy's Caribbean programs, and I am honored to be part of this event and to just offer a few thoughts about the Nature Conservancy's involvement, our motivation, and our hope for the marine spatial planning process, and our intention to be an excellent partner and organization to accompany the people of Barbados and the government of Barbados as we together go on this journey over the next 5 years or so. The sustainable management of marine space and resources are critical, not only for sustaining biodiversity, which is at risk globally, but for supporting Barbados's economy as it moves further into the 21st century. So the government of Barbados is to be commended on taking this bold step forward, using this blue bond funding to advance a national agenda for economic development and sustainable management of nature and species is something to be celebrated. This is the third time that the Nature Conservancy has entered into this kind of agreement with a nation to address the dual challenges of sovereign debt and nature conservation. The Marine Spatial Plan, the process for which begins in earnest today for developing it, will be developed with robust science, with diverse and inclusive input, as Minister Ford called for in his remarks. It's not just a mechanism for satisfying sort of the requirements of a blue bond transaction and a multilateral agreement that we have entered into, but indeed it is the very process for achieving. I'll refer back to the Nature Conservancy's vision. It's encouraging people to act together to conserve nature so that it indeed can fulfill the needs and continue to enrich the lives, in this case, of the people of Barbados. Based on our experience and from the recent Conference of Parties of the Convention on Biological Diversity's COP15, I think it was great to see you there, Minister Ford, and it is a really interesting moment in time, in our history, in our shared history, in that there is an urgent need to simultaneously address climate change and the challenges that poses for us as humanity, and the rapidly accelerating loss of species and biodiversity on this planet. No one organization, no one person can solve those twin related crises. And it's tempting to sort of feel hopeless when confronted with some of the challenges that they represent. But together and collectively, there is much we can do, and much we are doing by gathering here today and beginning this journey forward. Barbados is once again setting the bar for conservation at a national scale throughout the Caribbean and in the world. Less than a month ago, that agreement was made for 30%, and here we are today, a month later, talking about how we will get there. It is really, really profound. Barbados is demonstrating the kind of leadership that is called for in that global biodiversity framework. And the progress we make together on this marine spatial plan, the lessons we will take away from it, I hope will inspire others to follow suit. And with that, I will close by just saying on behalf of the Nature Conservancy, our global board, our CEO, Jennifer Morris, so many colleagues who have been part of this journey to this day ahead of me, we are absolutely proud to be part of this and grateful to be on this journey with you.
It's with my immense pleasure to join this day, and on behalf of the Inter-American Development Bank, for the launch of the Barbados Marine Spatial Planning process. It is an important milestone in the journey Barbados committed to by embracing sustainability and nature capital as core elements its growth strategy. Please allow me to share with you some context data about this important milestone. During COP15, held just a few weeks ago in December, over 190 countries agreed to a historic deal to halt biodiversity loss, based on ambitious new global policy framework for managing and conserving biodiversity, both on land and waters in our waters, and underscore the need to specifically deliver on ocean conservation and information, which is very important. The commitment to protect at least 30% of terrestrial inland water, coastal and marine ecosystem by 2030 was one of the most important accomplishments on this landmark agreement between nations, known as the Post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, as Robert mentioned. The ocean decade is now taking shape, and we need bold moves, like this commitment that we are celebrating today in the case of Barbados. The ocean covers approximately 70% of Earth's surface and is the largest livable space on our planet. Its surface area is about 139 million square miles, and its average depth is 12,080 feet. Despite its importance, most of our ocean is largely unknown. However, we do understand the crucial need to protect it, and it needs to better assess it is as a nature capital asset. For many nations whose economic and human well-being are supported by ocean ecosystems, such as the island states like Barbados, oceans are a major part of their biodiversity equation. And additionally, they are a unique asset in battling the climate crisis, as they are a natural carbon sink, sequestering around 30% of CO2 emissions. So I would like to highlight that today we are celebrating country ownership of this process. This is very important. The government is hosting this event to mark this key milestone as it builds upon its long-time work in strengthening marine ecosystem and environmental governance. It has made a commitment to pursue the marine spatial planning process as a science-based exercise. And most importantly, is bringing all actors to the table to guarantee that the designated areas of protection and the decision that will guide all zoning rules will be based on the best standards and in close collaboration and consultation with civil society. I would like to thank the teams behind the work required to make today a reality, from the Ministry of Environment and National Beautification, especially the technical teams of the Coastal Zone Management Unit and the Green Blue Economy Unit, as well as those from the Ministry of Finance. I am pleased to share with you that the recent meetings between government, best members, the Nature Conservancy, and IDB have led to greater collaboration, which will, for example, lead to joint efforts for training opportunities to enhance blue governance and marine conservation capacities. So on behalf of the IDB, I congratulate the government of Barbados on advancing in its marine spatial planning and for maintaining its focus and determination to achieve its climate and biodiversity goals. I would like to highlight this phrase, a cause to be proud of, definitely. Barbadians and all the people that are living here as me and my team, I'm really proud to be here And as well, we are proud as IDB and the Inter-American Development Bank to be your partner in this endeavor. So thanks so much.
We are here today essentially to do a few fundamental things. First of all, we signal that there has been some success of that journey which we embarked on as a new government in 2018-19 with respect to confronting what at that time was the dual challenge of our sovereign debt and marine conservation issues. The second thing that we are doing today is to lend a further dimension to our development journey. And even as we do so, we do the third thing, which is to take a further transformational step towards concretizing what ultimately will be new opportunities for a very diversified Barbados economy and new opportunities for real and tangible and, more importantly, sustainable growth. And perhaps the last thing that we are doing, if I'm to be absolutely frank with you, is that we are correcting some of the sins of omission of past generations, not just administrations, but past generations, with respect to the way in which we have treated to our marine space. We now embark on the second phase, which is to have a highly consultative process. And of necessity, it must be highly consultative because we are looking at areas of marine space that may, if not now, but certainly in the foreseeable future, become areas in which, if we fail to have the proper consultation, there will be issues of access, concerns raised about access to those spaces. There will be issues of uncertainty with respect to access to those spaces. And worse yet, there will be conflict with respect to access to those areas. And we want to avoid all of those things. By now, you would have gathered that marine spatial planning is assuming a tremendous significance for this government. And we are not alone. It is assuming a tremendous significance for governments around the world. I believe it would be correct to say, Dr. Brewster, that there may be about 60 to 70 countries now who are doing exactly what we are doing, or maybe a little bit further ahead of us. I want to say that the work that we are contemplating is also going to necessitate the evolution of new approaches and new opportunities. I know that you are very intrepid reporters, all of you, and so you're going to want to know what are some of the opportunities that we are talking about. And it really spans the entire spectrum of those activities that we now see, such as marine transport, the operations of our port and further development of the port, fishing, coastal tourism, shipping generally. But there will also, of necessity, be new activities, which lends to the first point that I made with respect to diversifying the Barbadian economy and broadening the base of opportunity for nationals to participate. There's also going to be, I want to suggest to you, a duty on all of us as Barbadians to now start to give some national consideration to how we can achieve a very balanced development of this space. And the example of the marine side of renewable energy comes to mind. And I think even more importantly is the example of the oil and gas sector and our ambitions, especially as it relates to the extraction of gas offshore Barbados. Now, the fact of the matter is that above and beyond that, there are also going to be questions of mining of the seabed, exploitation of the seabed for minerals and mineral deposits. We already have started the process of seawater desalination in Barbados. We already know that there are plans, Dr. Brewster, you're very familiar with this, with respect to marine construction, and the largest aspect of that ambition, which is not by any stretch of the imagination behind us, it is just that COVID paid to our capacity to try to embark on that journey in the short term, is that we would have islands offshore Barbados. And all of these things, whether it be gas exploration, whether it be offshore wind turbines, whether they're fixed or floating on the surface of the water, you name it, all of these have a requirement for us to make sure that we have the strictest and strongest possible and the most modern and perhaps the most effective regulatory environment that we can possibly have. I also feel strongly that the state has to map out current and proposed activities which will take place with respect to the renewable energy effort. We know, for example, that because of a number of studies we have done, there are certain areas, for example, off of Lamberts in St. Lucie, which are ideal for the location of wind farm activity. The state must have some precision with respect to where we want to have activities. With regard to oil and gas, we know that in large measure, South Barbados, Southeast Barbados, those are areas by virtue of the studies that have been done and the very positive results of those studies, that they are areas which can easily be earmarked for that type of activity. Marine construction, again, the studies have been done and we know where would be a good place to have an offshore island and where would be bad places to have offshore islands. That type of approach has to be done so that we are all on the same page and we can be transparent in this process. So simply put, I say to you, please let the consultative process begin. I urge you again to listen to the Barbadian voices, listen to the Barbadian ideas and the Barbadian concerns. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, let us work together to leave a legacy. And that legacy will be that we have a fine footprint of Barbadian ingenuity and Barbadian ability to transform our oceanic and maritime space. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Senior Minister Simmons. He's just going to put more work on me, though. But our team is ready for it. I think that you have hit the nail on the head in all aspects. The consultative process is something that we cannot afford to delay on, and the support that's required to roll out this process will be coming from TNC, IDB, those on the ground, our office, the special unit in our office once it's established to roll forward. And we're going to make this work. We're going to make this work. I think we're going to be in a very clear position within the next 2 years as to where we are, especially in terms of plan development. More importantly, aspects, as you said, which speak to the establishment of what can be an ocean governance policy will also be something that's going to be crucial and essential for us to move forward. We're bringing new dynamism and a different approach to how the marine space is going to be viewed in a sustainable manner. We're still going to be working towards a sustainable goal of life under the sea. That's SDG 14. So I think that the approach that we're taking is something that is going to build momentum. And once we have the common input and buy-in from all in this process, it will be a very effective process, and the results are going to be highly commendable at the end of the day. I keep saying all the time, and people get sick of me saying it, but Coastal is a science organization. We are led by science. We are driven by science. We live for science. People don't like me saying it because it sounds as if we're just only interested in science, but we're not. The big blue is real. Climate change is real. And we work hard at what we do. It's really important that we as the Caribbean start to get more involved in aspects of what the World Maritime University and the benefits it can bring for us as a region. And I just want to put in that plug there because it's important for us to make that linkage, especially in Barbados, because we don't take up as many opportunities that they offer as we ought to. And I want to make sure that the media captures that, because that is the way forward that Coastal will be looking to in the future. Thanks.